Live. YouTube. Okay, Facebook.
Oh, Coach, you know that those comics I bought.
Yeah.
I went back to that guy on eBay, and he had a Spider-Man, like a grab bag of 10 Spider-Man comic books.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I bought 10, but I'm curious to see. Like what I get out of it. But I got this one. I got this in the mail, the J. Scott Campbell.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. But I haven't even looked at it yet. I just kind of flipped through it real quick. But
Yeah. Okay. So I guess introductions for this stream. Sorry, my camera's in my face. I've got two cameras here, and the setup is not ideal. But yeah, so this stream, we did a homework assignment. We were practicing drawing thighs and hips. And so we chose a different artist. Usually, like me, for example, I reference David Finch a lot because he's my favorite artist. But one of the goals was to reference a different artist this time. And yeah, draw some hips and thighs. So yeah, what'd you do, Ryan?
Well, this is as far as I got. I pretty much found the guys. I spent a day just scouring, trying to find like different ideas, the way people approach hips and stuff. So this is like the Proco one, where it kind of gets into meshing with the top body, and kind of like really we're doing hips and thighs, but I almost wanted to incorporate just these boxes on top so I could figure out like the line of just how the body moves, you know. So for instance, with this one being kind of at an arc, I imagine if you study the way the weight of the body and everything, and then when you get down to this part, you can see where the shadows and get a little bit more of understanding the balance that and so for instance, if there's a lot of weight on this one right here, then maybe the muscles will stick out more. Like I'm trying to understand kind of because of the way the body's laid out, how those muscles are holding up the strength of the top body just a little bit. So I haven't studied that too much, but I just did an example of just trying to understand it before I even started trying to practice it. And then the other guy I thought was kind of interesting was Cameron R. Marshall, which he doesn't actually have a lot of followers online. So that's kind of cool if somebody actually hears this guy's name and goes and checks him out and gets his site kind of word of mouth gets spread around. But Cameron R. Marshall, which is really interesting, is he does a shape that's just like this. So, depending on the angle, it can be something to where he's moving it kind of like this ordeal. And then there's going to be a line here on the hip. You can kind of see I practiced a little example here.
Oh
with
yeah,
this guy.
that looks good.
And it's where those dots are. So where those dots are where like these muscles are going to be for the. I think there's like. So this angle right here, I'll go ahead and draw it out. So you do this kind of thing, like there's a pubic bone or whatever, and then this is where you can draw down where these muscles are going to be. So at these angles and these dots that he kind of does, go look it up. It's really interesting. But I was able to look at a model, a live model, and kind of actually, I don't even know what these muscles are called, but it's like I could pinpoint where they were on the hips. So even after this first one, I put in the shading and stuff. I'm not going to do that next time, but I just wanted to see, like, could I evolve off this, just from those little dots? So I think this is a pretty successful kind of thing for me. Like my brain can interpret it really well. So with this, I could just put in the shading and, the lights coming through here. And it's just really neat. Like I was able to really pinpoint like where I needed to put the hard shading at, if that made sense.
Yeah.
But, and then this is me just kind of playing around, you got the rib cage here. But I tried to think of like my own a little bit. I was like, okay, I can use this box. And then on a side view, do I just use circles? Like almost like a little, like a cylinder with wheels kind of, and maybe get that side butt. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it was interpreting too well for me. But then again, here's like a little bit of what I did in school, where we use these like circles for like the pivot for your legs. And I don't know. I felt like this one from this guy, Cameron R. Marshall, was pretty awesome. And these circles here, of course, are trying to show not only the cylinder of the leg, but where those muscles are, to where it's like, okay, I can just accentuate. You can kind of see with this little line coming down here, like there's a muscle sticking out right here, Yeah. And I really tried to just understand that, to really like burn it in my brain. Like it's not just going to be, this round shape that there's going to be a top part. But of course, that's where this Proco thing comes into play, where I was really trying to just understand, like, if you have all the weight on this leg, is this muscle going to poke out more than this left one? Like it's just really interesting. When I started almost getting confused when I started linking all these things together. And I don't know, but yeah, this is as far as I got. I actually had some design jobs come in, so most of my time was on getting the design jobs done, getting some hats ordered and everything. And anybody who's in design, they know that it's like a big email conversation, and things go back and forth, and it just takes forever. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, this is looking cool though. I like that. I wish I had some coffee right now. We ran out of coffee. Just when you like sip on your coffee, it like triggers my like
yeah,
whatever that is.
Pavlov's dog or something like that, I think.
Yeah, Pavlovian response. Like I'm like, I want coffee. Okay, well I did. All right, so I started in this sketchbook. I didn't get very much done either, actually. but I wanted to do some live model stuff because from the Proco website, I've got a. I guess I can look into the camera when I talk. I bought a pack of like figures, male and female, and I meant to go into those and capture some live stuff instead of just comic booky stuff. But I've been kind of going back and forth too with this new, project commission I've got going, which is part of that D&D series of stuff I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And this latest guy is it's going to be like, I'm going to learn a lot from it, but it's going to be a nightmare at the same time. So no offense, Thomas, if you're watching, but like, it's just like this, the description of the D&D character. And it sounds cool. But I'm just like, there's a lot of like reference stuff I'm going to work on. And
have you made from that list, have you made your own list of like prioritizing, the things that need to maybe be first, second, or third, or fourth, or?
Well, so I'm not going to do it like the other ones. I don't think I'm going to do full figure, mainly because like for the armor in this guy, I have a hard enough time drawing armor to begin with, but for this description, he's like, he has incorporated arcane elements into his armor to help with the manipulation of time on a very minor scale. So think steampunk gears, clocks, etc. So I'm like, armor is like, just plain armor is hard enough to draw. And then adding steampunk elements into it, like gears, and not only that, but the guy like manipulates time.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he also describes them as his armor as having these like nodes on them that emit like an electrical, like they emit electrical thunder damage. So like that's what like this little thing is for. Like I looked up like Tesla coils.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so this would be like a shoulder pauldron. And so I put like a little Tesla coil on it and just kind of rough sketched in some like electricity coming out of it with my Copic markers and stuff, and just yeah. So like I kind of roughed in a sketch of this guy. Like he's like maybe got a little thing on his wrist to manipulate time with.
Boy, that is going to be difficult.
Yeah, and then I started. This is just really ugly, but like I did, like up here, probably hard to see. Like I started messing around with, like maybe he's got like a clock, like in the middle of his armor, like in his chest, of his breastplate. That maybe he's glowing like blue or something, but maybe there's like a gear around the clock attached to some other gears that attach to his pauldrons, where the thunder damage is coming out of and shit. I don't know, but like, so I think I might do some sort of like close-up view of him, maybe like just like an upper body, like chest, head, and shoulders or something.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was thinking about like having like maybe some clocks in the background, but more like kind of like, not that the clocks would literally be there, but just to kind of represent this guy's like fascination with clocks and adjusting time and manipulating time and stuff.
I think that'd be interesting if you did put him in a workshop of some sort, where he's where it's kind of like a lab, and he's pooping around in his lab trying to manipulate maybe some ideas he has of his own or something like that. That'd be really interesting to do something like that. So it's more concentrated on the idea of what this guy does, than some of your action poses before, where it was kind of more actiony. This guy is more intelligent, kind of, in a way.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty neat.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's why I've been kind of haven't got as much thighs done. So, anyways, this get so the artist that I referenced for this this assignment thing, his name's, I don't know if it's pronounced Ed Beans or Ed Baines, but he's Brazilian. So he's done a lot of work for like DC. So I'm gonna see if I can pull up a Google thing from him, just so I can show you. So let me. This might take a second. Let's see. Let's capture a. Window. Create new. Let me shrink this to size. Sorry, I have to go in this other software.
After you get done talking about your stuff, I had an idea that maybe you should check out regarding your steampunk guy. Just remind me so I don't forget.
Okay. Okay. Can you see the webpage?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, Ed Beans, Brazilian comic book artist. Bring up his wiki really quick. I won't go into too much detail, but known for his work in DC Comics, such titles of Birds of Prey, Supergirl, Superman, Justice League of America. So I found this guy on Instagram, just through like a bunch of art, you see in your like search feed or whatever, pops up stuff that you have similar interest in. So I found his stuff. Oh wait, you know what? I should just go to his Instagram, because that's all. Like, if I go to his Google, like he draws like provocative like poses of like female superheroes, like naughty kind of stuff sometimes. But if I go to Google, it brings up like other like stuff that other people have drawn that's like inappropriate, like that are just drawing full-on boobs. So I don't want to bring that up on the page. Let me search. Ed. Okay, so how's that all coming in?
Oh, it looks good.
So yeah, this is the kind of stuff that he does. I mean, I think most of this stuff is like pencils. There's some ink work here too, though. He doesn't just draw females, but he draws guys too. But like his female work, though, is, you can tell like he loves it. Like he's just really good with the female form. Here's one of Supergirl. Like, and yeah, it's exaggerated. Like you can see her ass and her breasts like, at the same time. But like even the Spider-Man like is just super cool. Like, just I don't know. I really like his pencil work and just his figures. So I thought I'd try to see how it would go for like the thighs and the hips and stuff, because he's really good like in here and the hips and stuff. Like that's Rogue. like the Superman pose, just super cool. It's another Spidey. Let's see, Wolverine and Gambit. There's a Spidey and Wolverine. It's kind of cool. So yeah. So anyways, I went through and picked out a few things of his. I didn't reference anything from this because a lot of his drawings on here, like, you know, like this Spider-Man drawing. Like I wanted something that was like pictures of the thighs that were like unobscured. You know, he's got his hand right here, arm over his thigh right here. I couldn't find really anything, you know, like this Gambit pose would be great, but everything's like dark in the background in here, and this one's okay, but there's not like too much muscular detail, which isn't, you know, isn't necessary at all. But I was kind of looking for something with a little bit more musculature. So I did go to the, let's see what my first reference was, if he even has it on here anymore. I probably can't find it. I'm just not gonna. I'm just gonna.
You know, one thing I noticed about that guy with all those pictures you're showing me is that he doesn't. I noticed that I don't know if it's like a thing where just some comic book artists, because I see David Finch and Jim Lee do it quite a bit. I don't know if it's just an expression, that they're not really worried about it regarding some of the I don't know, non-cover art type of stuff, is that they add. I noticed on this guy he didn't do it, but Jim Lee and David Finch sometimes will add an incredibly amount of more muscle than what needs to be there, or not what needs to be there, but what is actually there. And of course, it's like accentuating it. But it seemed like all those pictures you were showing me, it was almost like he's accentuating. It seems like he's really well versed in like the anatomy, like in a way that's he's just taking the basic of the anatomy and kind of overblowing it. Because I've seen David Finch sometimes with like, especially the forearm, where it's like, God, it looks like there's 20 different strands of muscles running through there, and I know there's not 20 strands of muscle running through there.
Right. Well, yeah, a lot of that's for like, you know, and Finch will even admit, you know, like
makes it more dramatic.
Like you don't have to have like the exact anatomy down. But like, you know, having the understanding is good. But you know, like some of these forearm drawings these are references of David Finch, you know, from his Monday Night Draw book that I got. But like, you know, there's just this thick musculature, and you know, some of those muscles are going to be there, but a lot of that's like exaggerated and accentuated, and it's for, you know, it's for comic books, you know, it's but it still looks cool, like, you know, and it's convincing, I would say. But yeah, if you're somebody that knows anything about anatomy, you'd probably know that not all that musculature is there. But yeah, so I won't try to find the ones I referenced, but I'll kind of talk about them a little bit. Like these two were from a Superman comic panel that Ed did. This one you could probably guess is Superman flying, I think. And that would be like his right thigh, I believe. So, you know, even still this, bottom area that's shaded in, like his vastus medialis right here. The biceps femoris, I think, is the middle muscle. Biceps femoris, I think. Let me check. I'm usually pretty good with my anatomy, just because I took anatomy classes back in the day.
And you work them out so much, Coach.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. Biceps femoris is a hamstring muscle. Rectus femoris, maybe. Yes. Okay. So, like, there's the anatomy, the quad. So you got your medial muscle, the kind of the one that forms that ball towards the end of your kneecap. That's the vastus medialis. You got the vastus lateralis, which is on the outside of your thigh. Then you got the rectus femoris that goes through the center there. So yeah, about this would be the rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus medialis. Then the kneecap would be right here. Then you got like the sartorius and all these other muscles that like connect up in the hips. And that right there would be like the what's the ab muscles called? Dang it. How am I, like, I wouldn't normally forget these muscles.
Is that the V-shaped muscle pretty much?
No, it's the, external obliques. Right here. It's that one that kind of points in towards the groin or whatever. It kind of traces along the top of the hips. But yeah, this one's from the same panel. This one had some starker lighting like coming down on him from there. But you can see even he like exaggerated some of this muscle stuff. Here. I think this one was just a Batman one he did that wasn't as heavy on the rendering. But yeah, this was my previous sketchbook. So then I went through on captured a few more of his. Like this is a Captain America drawing he did, I think in 2016. And I really liked all the musculature here. This one was probably the favorite one that I found so far. You can even tell probably some of these muscles on the inner thigh are a little bit added and exaggerated. But this is kind of more of how I like that rectus femoris to be like demonstrated, I guess, in a drawing. Like, that Venom drawing I did, I think it was just way too big. But and then I did a couple female references of his. Can't remember. I think this might be a Rogue drawing or something that he did where she's like on her knees or whatever. But I really like, his female forms. He definitely tones down on the musculature and kind of in a way makes them softer, I think. Like still muscular, but softer. You know what I mean? And then like this one I didn't pull off very well. It was just a kind of a weird angle, like her butt cheeks right here. Then her thigh kind of comes in and I didn't finish it just because I didn't like it. Sorry, Ryan. But then her hips up here and it had like a belt, utility belt and shit on, and her stomach up there. So yeah, it's about as far as I got, and I just started kind of coming up with all this other shit.
See, I noticed when I was doing the hips, kind of like I was saying earlier, is I found myself trying to understand what the rib cage was doing, what the top of the body was doing, because depending on their movements, it changes those abdomen muscles a little bit. These kind of like you were saying, the lower. What did you say they were again? That Superman lower obliques.
The external. Well, there's external and internal obliques,
Oh, okay.
but I think it's the externals that like kind of poke out more. Neat.
And it was interesting. It was just kind of like I felt like I was trying to concentrate on this one area, and then when I'd sketch out, I'd be like, wait a second, I got to think about how the hell this moves, you know? And man, it was just really hard for me to just concentrate, just think of the hip itself. And Proco has one where he's actually showing the hip bone, and it's almost like a cylinder, kind of an odd shaped cylinder. And he shows the hip just kind of moving all the way around. I didn't want to get into that because I felt like it wasn't getting into like the muscle part. It was just kind of more like shaping of which direction it was kind of going. But man, I felt it was pretty difficult to try to wrap my head around like how a muscle would move, you know. It was just for the little bit I did. Like I said, I wish I could have done more, but I found myself just really sitting there and thinking about, you know, I looked at all live models, but just looking at the live model, just like, okay, where's this weight at? You know, it's like I try to understand the body itself, that affects the hip and the butt and the waist area, you know. But
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes me honestly, I kind of wish I would have done a comic book type of style because like what you were saying earlier, you know, you don't have to be perfect with it. And I find myself sometimes spending too much time when I'm looking at a live model of just being like, oh man, this has to be perfect, you know, because I can't look at the live model and then draw something that's like, oh well, you know, it's close. Because it's you know, that's not the purpose of a live model. You try to get it and try to understand the anatomy and everything. And while what's cool about comic books is you don't have to worry about being perfect, but what's neat about it is you worry more about the action itself, regarding like I could draw a live model, but I can't put that exact model into the comic style, or not the comic style, but you know, I would say Alex Ross does it really well, like it because he uses the body really well. But you see, like, because of him doing that, he has a certain non-exaggerated style that I really like the exaggerated style of some of the other artists. You know, like I was just telling you, I got this J. Scott Campbell, and dude, look at this. Like, for example, this is a really cool shot, but look how long that leg is.
Yeah.
Compared to that one. And like if she was to stand and see the hip is higher, if she was to stand and look, it's higher, so it should be shortened, but it's even extended long. But when you're looking at it, dude, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think part
It's
of that
just,
too is because he's exaggerating the walk that she's doing, so
yeah.
He's putting her left leg in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So he's drawn it, you know, shorter, of course, because that right leg is reaching out like kind of towards us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's just really neat to me, you know, like that's what I kind of want to concentrate on, is the feeling of what you're trying to do rather than just trying to like get something perfect, if that makes sense.
yeah.
And that's what's just really neat, you know. Like, I mean, do the clothes fall like that? Probably not, but it's the fact that you can look at something and you understand it, you know. Like I don't know any suits that are that tight on the butt and everything,
I
but
was gonna say, like, that dude's like got some thick thighs.
but
Even
it doesn't.
his right calf, like on that foot that's stepping back, looks like his calf is just busting through that suit.
I know. And that's what's cool. That's why I really appreciate comics and stuff like that, is because it doesn't matter, you know. Like it's about a style and how you feel when you look at it, you know. This is movement, you know. It just shows movement really well. I kind of feel like I want to let go of the live drawing and kind of get into a little bit of this of just putting something down and yeah, the leg's not right. This, this might be wrong, but how do you get to that point where you can fool it, and then at the same time have this really dramatic? Because that's what's really cool about comics to me is being able to look at them and it's so dramatic. Every frame that's in it is just so dramatic and it tells the story really well. And
Yeah.
I think that's a hard thing to do. Like that, I think that's very difficult to do. But so I think I'm gonna finish up the guys that I did a little bit, and then I'm gonna get into a little bit more. I wouldn't call this playful, but it's just a little bit more of working on a different aspect of the body and the body language, I should say. But yeah.
I think I might try to pull up.
What I was gonna tell you earlier about your dude is, have you ever seen on Netflix Arcane?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen lots of stuff about it.
That is a steampunk. It's about, I guess, a one story from League of Legends, kind of, that they elaborated on a character, and that has a really cool style, dude. It's steampunk, but at the same time, I think it actually won some awards for the style. Like the story's pretty good, but dude, I was in complete awe when I was watching it of just the artistic style they used, and oh my god, it was so incredibly good. Like the way they did that was amazing. I mean, that was like, in my opinion, that show was more of an art piece than I think of like a story, in my opinion. I mean, the story was good and everything, but God, when I was watching that, I was just in awe. Like I just paused it. Like there were so many times I rewound it and paused it, and I was like, "Oh my God, look at that!" Like it's just so good. The way they showed the action and the set pieces of perspective sometimes, and God, it was just amazing. It was just so good. That's one of those things that's inspiring to me when you see something like that. That's something that's like, all right, I need to work on my craft rather than sit here and watch this, because this is this is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But oh, Coach, I was going to tell you, this pencil I got, the Oto.
Oh
Otto?
yeah. Here, let me go back to this.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's small, it's short.
Yeah, it's a little short. The reason I got it, it's actually wood on the outside, and it clicks like a mechanical pencil. Which I don't know if I like or not, because obviously I can't use the barrel sharpener. I have to use this thing. It's like a little prong thing that kind of looks like this, and it goes down to the tip. It goes down to a sharp kind of edge down there, and you kind of twist it like this to sharpen. I think it's a little not as intuitive as I'd like, but the reason I even bought this was because when we were doing this kind of thing, projects like this where I'm working on the body and stuff, I never like to, when I'm doing body work, I never like to hold it like this. I always like holding stuff like this. So if I need to accentuate like a certain angle, I feel like I'm way more looser, and I can really make some nice straight lines, and I can use my arm a little bit depending if I need to. There's a kind of a box that comes here. It's like I can really kind of get things where I need to be, and then I kind of go in like this. So it's kind of a thing that when I took my drawing classes, they all told us when we had our easels. Like, you do not hold your pencil like this. You hold it like this. So whenever I do body work, I kind of anatomy. It seems like to do layout. I'm just used to doing this, but it's really cool. That's why I got it. It's because it's a lot fatter than a normal one, so it feels kind of not hefty. Like it's not that heavy, believe it or not, but it just feels like I don't have to get you pinch something. But these are cool. You might be interested in this. I wish it was a little bit heavier, to be honest. That's why I kind of like the lead holders, is because they have some weight to it, and I like feeling that weight in my hands. But yeah, this is pretty cool.
So why can't you use the barrel sharpener?
Because it's fatter.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because part of the thing sticks in there. I forgot about that.
Kind of see. That's kind of the bummer part of it, but I knew that going in because before I bought it, I looked at the barrel sharpener. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to use this, but this, yeah, it's pretty neat. Like, so if we ever do things in the future, I know like when I still have this from art class, our teacher made us buy these huge ones because it's literally the same thing where you just kind of hold it kind of like this. I mean, you can hold the lead ones just fine, but I got so used to the big ones that now it's just, I could probably get used to a smaller lead holder, but I don't know, it just feels like I'm back in art class again, and I'm being a little prissy about it.
Dang it.
God, it was such a bummer. It says something, Coach, when I get paid to actually do graphic design stuff. But now that I'm doing this kind of stuff and I have these goals set out, I'll almost get bummed out that I'll get a graphic design job where somebody will call me for something. And I was like, man, I'm getting paid for this, but I really wish I was drawing.
Right.
I wish I wasn't doing this right now. But so that's a good sign, Coach.
All right, I'm downloading my nudie drawings that I got from Proco for reference. I ended up ordering one of those barrel sharpeners that you got. Like, mine's essentially the same, but
have you noticed the difference?
I don't know. I haven't got it yet. It's supposed to get in the mail today.
How much do you pay for it?
I think like $11.
That's how much I pretty much paid for it.
I thought Michaels would have it because they carry a lot of Stedler stuff, but they did not.
Have you noticed some of those art stores being a little poopy on their stock? Like when it comes to...
Yeah, like Michaels has been that way. I try not to shop at Hobby Lobby too much.
You against Christianity?
I'm kind of against what a lot of Christians have become.
I understand.
I've never been into church either, but what kind of really turned me off from Hobby Lobby was they had who's the My Pillow guy?
Mike Lindell. Lindell?
They have like one of his fucking books.
Oh yeah.
That they're selling there. And I'm like, okay, so is Hobby Lobby against this whole crazy right-wing MAGA agenda? Like I'm fine with Republicans, like, as long as they're not like the crazy right-wingers that are, I don't know.
Oh, I know what you mean. they got a lot of those weird books there. Because I was just telling Aaron, I said that I'm not a fan of going to Hobby Lobby when he called me and I was running some errands. He was like, "Why?" I was like, I just feel weird sometimes. Not that I mean, not that I'm like you kind of said against Christianity, but I'm just more of like, dude, when I go there to get some art stuff, I don't need a book telling me that, you know, the 10 things I need to. Yeah, I don't know. There's just some books there. I'm just like, I mean, it's like punch you in the face kind of titles that are just like, oh, Jesus Christ. You know, the 10 deadliest sins and what you need to know to go to. I don't know. It's just sometimes it's just like, oh, you know, when you're checking out trying to look for a certain bubble gum or something like that, it's just like, by the way, why don't you become a good person? You know, you might go to hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean by that.
Yeah, just like I said, I'm not against like a sane Republican, but anyone that like follows Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Herschel Walker, like all these fucking lunatics, I'm just like,
What's the deal with Herschel Walker? I've heard him a lot on the news, but I don't really know anything about that.
well, you know, he's allegedly, I think a couple women now have come out that he had wanted them to get abortions, allegedly. Well, the women are claiming that they allegedly had a child with him and he wanted them to get abortions. And then there's something to do with like during his election debate, he like brandished a sheriff's badge, like claiming that he's a fucking sheriff or a cop because he's got a badge.
Oh yeah, that's actually the article I read.
Yeah, then like the debate moderator or whatever was like, "Sir, we've told you can't have props. You can't bring props to the debate." And he's like, "But it's not a prop. It's a real badge." But he's basically like impersonating someone in law enforcement, which is like illegal. But he's basically like impersonating someone in law enforcement because he's brandishing this badge that some other hillbilly gave him, who's the sheriff. And is he in Texas? I think he's in Texas. But I don't think he understood that what she meant by prop was that, like, I think she meant that, or he thought that she thought that it was like a fake badge.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he did this other video later next to the guy that gave him the badge. He's like, "Oh, no, it's a real badge. I gave it to him. I'm the sheriff of this town. It's a real badge that I gave him." But I think he's like just so dumb that he didn't realize by prop she meant that like you can't bring shit in to the debate to use to give you leverage in your debate, like to show people like he thinks that she thinks it's a fake badge. Like, but when she says prop, that's not the point. It's like, you know, he's using it, she means as a tool for the debate. Like, either whether it's fucking real or not, like it's still a prop when it comes to the debate. So I'm waiting on these pictures to download. There's like 377 of them.
Whoa.
Maybe they're all done now.
Yeah, I guess the thing behind the badge was it's equivalent to almost like Dwight's badge. It's a almost kind of a thank you / you're a volunteer type of thing. you've done so much for the community that here's the badge and
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah. And I don't know about the claims that he was impersonating an officer. Something about that was said that made it sound like he was trying to impersonate an officer or somebody in law enforcement. Okay. So I won't pull up the pictures of this dude that I'm going to use. But this is going to be tough. I'm going to try to look at my monitor over here while I draw over here. So I probably got about 20 minutes left.
20 minutes left? For what?
Yeah, to stream.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
for me. Let's see which way. Go. This way, just make sure. See what I'm doing. Let me tell you, I saw Barbarian.
Barbarian?
Yeah, have you heard of that movie?
Uh-uh.
Sorry, I'm trying to. All right, try this again. Yes, it's this movie that came out a couple months ago. It's got Bill Skarsgård. Justin Long is in it. But it's about these two people that had basically booked a rental property through like Airbnb or whatever.
Oh, yeah. That's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
It was so disappointing.
What was so bad about it?
Like, so a lot of people have been like hyping the movie up, like saying, "Oh my god, it's the best horror movie like I've ever seen. It's so unpredictable." Da 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 da. And like, that was the case for like the first like 2/3 of the movie, but then like the third act just took a giant dump. Like, the first 2/3 were just, it was so smart, like really tense, a lot of good build up. And then like the last third of the movie just like kind of throws that all to the wayside, and it just becomes like a dumb, predictable horror movie. Like, so that for me makes me overall like disappointed in the movie. Like, so overall, I did not like it because of the ending. but like a lot of people claim it's like one of the best horror films in years, and I'm just like, did I watch the same movie as these people? Like, do they not notice what happens in like the last part of this film? Like,
I've been trying to watch horror movies at nighttime, but I I did that last week, probably every night for about 4 nights in a row, and then gosh, with kids and everything, I just get so tired, and I haven't been able to. I haven't watched anything this week.
yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to watch some stuff too. Like I watched that. Well, there's that other horror movie that came out. It's a slasher flick, really. That Terrifier. Did we talk about this before?
Yeah, Terrifier 2.
Yeah. I watched the first one, which was pretty gory. And they say that the second one has been making people sick. Like I know a guy actually that I play Diablo 2 with, that he said one of his friends went and tried to see it in theaters, and he ended up getting sick through part of the movie, and he couldn't finish watching it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever gotten sick in a movie.
I got kind of lightheaded watching the movie once. Did you ever see shit, who was it? It's got Jude Law, Forrest Whitaker. It's not a horror movie. It's like a sci-fi. Repo Men.
How old is that movie?
I don't know, early 2000s. Let me see.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Twenty 2010.
2010.
Yeah. So it's about these guys that they're like these enforcement agents or whatever that like people are like buying or leasing like organs for themselves, like life-saving, or not life-saving, but essential organs basically, like, and if they don't keep up their payments on the organs, the repo men come and remove the organs from them. So then Jude Law ends up having to get an organ replacement. So it's about him. He kind of goes on the lam. I think Forrest Whitaker is like tracking him down. But there's like one scene where like he's like trying to remove these organs from himself or something, and I can't remember exactly because I couldn't finish it. And it wasn't like extremely graphic, but like he's like cutting himself open and like reaching his own hand inside of himself to like, I can't remember if he's like trying to scan the organs or if he's removing them. Or I think he might be trying to scan them to make it some computer system think that like his debt's paid off. I don't remember exactly. Like I said, 'cause I couldn't finish it. I started getting fucking lightheaded. I was just like, because I would start like imagining how painful that would fucking be, and like, I don't know.
I know there was. I would say immediately the movie I thought of, and hasn't made me sick, or it didn't make me sick or anything, but Passion of the Christ. I remember watching that for the first time, and I just remember thinking like I just wanted it to stop. Like I was just like, God, stop!
Yeah,
like stop fucking hitting him. You know what I mean? Like
hitting him
just,
with the big like flail or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was just like, God, come on already. Give this guy a fucking break. It was rough for me to watch that.
Yeah, that one was pretty rough. I was able to get through that one.
I know at a very young age, dude, 7 was I watched Seven accidentally. Well, I wouldn't say accidentally. I can't remember what was happening, but there was a situation going on to where my dad wasn't telling me to leave the room, but I was in there just watching it, and man, dude, that really got me. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I was young when I watched it. Did you see the new video for Callisto Protocol?
I don't think so. Maybe, I'm not sure. I've seen some people like doing some gameplay videos or something, like through maybe like the first couple levels of the game.
Mhm.
I didn't like watch it all the way through or like pay too close attention because I was just kind of like, sometimes I'll put shit on just to watch, like if I'm doing dishes or laundry. So it's kind of one of those deals.
It's funny you say that because my wife hates it when I do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, she always thinks I'm not like if I'm making dinner or something like that, I'll put on my headphones and I'll start kind of listening to something. And oh man, she's like, "You're not here. You're not present with us." You know, it's like, what are you talking about? It's just like there's a lot of things going on right now, and I need to focus. Like I can't cook dinner really well with the background of a soundtrack of kids getting upset, and like just give me a break here. But yeah, it
Off
always
my back, lady.
dude, I never text you, but I've been drawing with my son here because I got to watch him um, during the day for a little bit until he goes to school. But we were drawing, and I was drawing these images, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, what are you drawing?" I was like, "Oh, people." So he just kind of rambles sometimes, and most of the time I'm just kind of like, oh yeah," like that's my reply, "Oh yeah." And anyway, he said something about how God made people, and then and he's 4, almost 5, but he looked at me and he smiled. He goes, "But who made God?" I was like, I just kind of froze, and I was like, "Where did this come from?" Did somebody talk to him about like God making people?
Yeah.
So I kind of just froze there. I go, "Well, son, that's a question that has been baffling a lot of people for a long time." And I said, "You probably spend the rest of your life trying to figure that out." And he goes, "Oh, I bet the Chinese know." And I kind of like looked. I was like, Where'd you come? Where'd you get that from?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Why did you say Chinese people?" And he goes, "Well, because they know." And I was like, "Okay." I go, "Well, I think if the Chinese know, then we probably know about it." And he goes, "Well, how do you know? You can't speak Chinese." And dude, I remember just kind of like sitting there, just kind of in awe. I was like, "What the heck? Where's this going?" Like,
Right.
first of all, where did he hear all this stuff? Well, like, I don't know. It's just so strange. So I told my wife about it, and she's like, "I don't know. I don't." I was like, "Is there some Chinese kids that are in your class that have said stuff to him or something?" Like, I don't. But God, it was just so.
Hilarious.
But what was funny was the end of that whole conversation was I kind of froze there, and so I was like, "Well, son, you're right. I don't know how to speak Chinese." And he goes, "But I got a bigger question for you." I was like, "Well, what's that?" And he said, "How is paper made?" Because we were both drawing on paper, but yeah, it was pretty funny.
Were you like, you'll never believe me, son, but you made trees.
Yeah,
What?
I told him trees, and he goes, "No." I go, "Yeah," and he goes, "Trees aren't this flat." And I was like, "No, no, it's not like they cut down a tree and just like it's
Draw.
paper." I was like, but I thought that was kind of funny,
That's hilarious.
dude. I I love kids. I love them. I love being a dad, but it's one of the hardest things to try to do anything that's not in your routine to it. So, for instance, this drawing thing, you know, I've got my design business or whatever, and I got to take the kids everywhere, and you know, like I said, Halloween thing that just popped out of nowhere and nobody told me about it. I guess you could argue I could have been a good husband and been a little bit more uh, uh, taking the stance to be like, hey, so what's going on? What's going on today? What do we got going? You know, but it's just God to do something like this. It's can be so taxing sometimes.
Yeah.
So like this thing I'm doing here, Coach, these little circles that he kind of talks about, like I can just connect them in like this top of the right box. I can just kind of connect it and run down the muscle. And it's almost like because that's where the muscle starts, like up there.
Yeah.
I guess that's his idea. Is just like, hey, you know, just connect these muscles, and then you kind of got your leg, you know. But
Yeah. What's that sound in the background?
you can hear that,
Yeah.
like chopping down some trees.
Uh, could you tell him to stop?
Have you ever seen the movie? You ever seen the movie The Babadook?
No, I've been tempted. I just was like never committed to clicking on it to watch.
I think you might like it if you like psychological kind of stuff.
Yeah, I heard it's more of a psychological. Like you don't hardly see the Babadook himself, but
Yeah.
it's more of like what his influencer he has on people or something like that. Or am I thinking of something else?
I would imagine this one's more. The way I took it was the kind of the demon inside you, you know,
Oh,
and that's kind of the Babadook a little bit. Um, and at the end, especially when she's feeding the Babadook, it's almost like she's it's one of those movies at the end. Spoiler alert, anybody's reading. At the end, it's kind of one of those things where you realize it was her the whole time. And what's really neat at the end is she's feeding the Babadook. I'm pretty sure if I remember, she's feeding the Babadook, and it's like in her basement, and just to keep it calm, to kind of make sure it doesn't, you know, do its thing. And what's really neat is when you find that out. I like that idea of, you know, you got that demon inside you, and you kind of have to, take care of it a little bit so it doesn't want to come back out. But it's a pretty neat movie. I really liked how they did the. I really like how they did the monster kind of, if that makes sense.
yeah.
I really enjoy horror movies. I don't know. There's something about a little addiction for me. If a movie can scare me, like I, I'm happy about that.
You're right.
Excuse me.
Good push. Good push.
Yeah, one thing I'm also taking into account the like I was telling you about line weight is not connecting lines together. I think it's funny that you told me about David Finch coming out with that video because I saw it, but I didn't watch the whole thing. But there was another artist, I can't remember. He's a black guy. Um, he does a lot of Marvel stuff, but
Ryan
Proto interviewed him. What's that?
Ryan Benjamin.
Oh, that might be it. Kind of has like a beard, but not like a big beard. It's kind of like a little scruff. But he does.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's very loose. Like
Yeah.
super loose. And he's just like, it looks like he's just kind of scribbling all over the place, but like he's, that's just his style. He's almost, well, you can tell he has a lot of influence from like Jim Lee, I think.
Yeah, Jim Lee does the same thing. A lot of scribbly kind of stuff.
Yeah. In fact, I'm pretty sure they've worked together at DC. In fact, I think he directly says one time that like Jim Lee is one of his influences, and that I think he's mentored him to some extent. I think, could be wrong, but I think he's just done a lot of work with Jim Lee, so that's why you can see a lot of his style there. But anyway, go ahead. I'll cut you off, I think.
He does the same thing with the kind of finishing the line type of thing, to where it's like you don't have to complete the line. You can show that from the light, with that light being so bright, and then it hits that part, of whatever, that don't connect the lines, and it shows. You're not accentuating a shadow type of thing.
Right. Oh my God, enough with the freaking political text messages.
God, I get a lot of those too.
I'd like block every single phone number that comes through for that. I need to set up. I'm going to do a mail-in ballot this year. If I'm actually going to go out to an election office.
I don't really vote. I mean, I do because my wife makes me vote.
I never used to.
What made you change?
Trump.
Oh.
And no, I am not voting, or never voted for him, and never will. But I think him and his party and their agenda are just big problems for America.
Yeah, I didn't vote for him either.
I'm not saying like Biden's the greatest either. I don't think we had any good like presidential candidates in the last election.
Well, it's like it's always between a douchebag and a what what does South Park say? A douchebag and a shit sandwich or something.
Just like, can we get in a candidate that's not like geriatric? Like, I love how Trump jokes all the time about how old Biden is, but like Trump's only like a couple years younger than Biden, and he ain't always there during his speeches either. It's like they act like Biden can't do a speech to save his life, but like, have you guys seen Trump speak? He's not the greatest speaker either. Like, so I don't know.
I know for me, the reason why I never really liked Trump is I was in sales for a long time, for a real long time. And dude, I know a salesman when I see one. And, a lot of
Snake
people
oil?
always, what's that?
Snake oil?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where, I had to deal with a lot of reps and, as a salesman, like I'm sure people know, you have to push the credit cards. You have to do this. You have to do that. And I've just been around so many salesmen that it's just you just feel icky, dude. Like it's kind of one of those things. I was a salesman, but I really tried my best not to really push my agenda. If somebody came in and wanted, certain products that I knew that we make more money off these products, well, you just got to sell them. It's a hard thing, dude, to be successful as a salesman and still keep your integrity in check sometimes. But
Right.
I don't know. There's some people I knew through my job that were just really good at their job, dude. I mean, they were hitting numbers like crazy, And then when you actually met them, it's just like, God, this dude is fucking not in reality, Like it's icky just talking to him, You feel like you're talking to a shell of a person because he'll just say whatever circumstance, he'll say whatever it is in that circumstance to make people happy,
Right.
And that's the way I kind of looked at as Trump. Everybody, it was funny. Everybody, the world was like, oh, man, he's good at business. He's going to, and that's what we need. We need a businessman. I was like, fuck, dude.
But he's not good in business either.
Well, my big thing was just like, if you ever dealt with a successful businessman, I mean, a real successful person who's really good at it, that will do anything to get to that point, dude, it's a weird, that person is fucking weird, man. And for somebody like Trump to be like, oh, I'm good, man. It's like, dude, to be really successful at business, you kind of have to be a shithead, and not in the most truthful way, and that's why I didn't like. I was just like, God, does anybody else see that this guy is he's your typical salesman, man? Like, like it's
right.
I don't want that. I'd rather have a human in there. But I understand that those humanistic people, it's hard, I'm not a big Bernie fan, but there's something about those pictures of him being back in college getting arrested for standing up for what he believes, and the crowd and stuff like that. There's a part of me that was just like, God, does this guy deserve it? Does this guy's been in it for the longest time, like I don't know. I wish I could have that type of character in there, but I don't know. It goes deeper than stuff that I probably don't realize that, I don't know. I've noticed one thing about doing the leg too is at any point where there's a shadow, there's also a light refraction that's like right in the middle of it that just shines out, you know?
Like a like a bounce light or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like kind of like what I'm trying to do, like in here. I can get that camera closer. Like I just went through and kind of colored it all in. And like I'm just kind of erasing some of this like kind of rim lighting or out of it that's around the muscle group there. Is that a rope? What is that?
Yeah, this lady's like dangling on a rope.
Oh, getting some freaky stuff in, huh?
Oh yeah, there's some stuff in here, buddy. I know one thing I'd really like to work on is kind of like how you're doing it. Like you put in these lines of tone, kind of like this, and then you went through and was like, okay, I'm gonna use those when I need to and erase them when I don't need them, and then build upon it.
Yeah.
I need to kind of start. I need to start doing that, playing around with that, because I start from white, and then I'm trying to build in a way that I think I might be kind of confusing myself, getting a little too worried about exact values without just laying a groundwork and going back and forth. I'm just like going one way.
Yeah, and try to work in darker values first. I don't always though, but
This is accentuated way too much. Man, dude, there's somebody I found online. I followed him on Instagram. But his style. Trying to think of what. Let's just get on here real quick. I followed him, but he's not on my Instagram. That's strange. But he's I think he's like from Taiwan or something. But man, he's got a really, really cool style. It's kind of almost like that Becker girl that I really like.
Oh yeah. Got to get you one of these erasers.
I was just about to say that. Yeah. Really need to stop working on value here because I was just trying to find a way to.
Rendering's fun though.
What's that?
The rendering is fun though.
Oh yeah. Well, that's, to me, that's when it starts coming together. You know, I get excited. Oh yeah, it's starting to look like a person. Kind of. This belly button needs to actually come out more. Someday we need to start playing around with chalk too. Or
Yeah,
charcoal.
I like watching looking at a good charcoal drawing. Well, like Stan Prokopenko, he's so good at that. Like, well, he's a fantastic artist, just in general. But I don't know if you ever watch any of his charcoal drawings that he'll do, like his instructional videos and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
eraser sounds like you're tapping away on like a calculator or something. Doing some accounting.
I think next week I'm gonna really work on speed too. Really kind of see if I can get to the point where I can do these things in, like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Should we do some timed gesture drawings?
That'd be fun. Gesture is always fun because you just kind of go after it. You don't have to. You don't spend the time looking at something and being like, man, that's not right.
Right.
It's not right. You're already moving on. Got to tackle the next one.
Ooh.
So you think that's going to be quite a challenge for you on that one D&D?
Yeah, it'll be it's funny. I don't think it was intentional, but each one of the descriptions and the drawings have been ramping up in difficulty for me. Like each next one I get, I'm like, fuck, I hope this one's a little easier than the last one. I'm like, nope. And I got this last one, I was like, fuck. Like, it's a good thing because it'll challenge me. But part of me is like, give me a break.
I bet.
But I'll get it done. But yeah, that's why I think I'm gonna do like draw like his bust, I think. And then like not a super detailed background, but something that kind of just represents what he's about more than showing detail of like an environment that he's in. All right, I think I'm gonna hop off.
Okay.
Call it there.
You want to stream tonight, right?
Yeah, we can stream tonight.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to you a little bit later today.
Okay, figure out what we'll do.
What time do you want to do it?
I don't know, around 8 o'clock, I guess, maybe
8 o'clock. Okay.
8 o'clock or a little bit later, whatever works.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
When are you gonna start your thing?
I don't know. I'm probably still a ways off from like starting it on the like final drawing page, like the actual like illustration board I'm going to do it on. I'm probably still going to be practicing like with doing some steampunk, like messing around with some armor design for that, for the steampunk armor. So I don't know. I'll maybe try to work on some of that for the stream.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm curious to see the beginning to the end. You know, I mean, I kind of saw, Venom, of course, but
Yeah.
I kind of like to see how you tackle it.
All right. Yeah. Yep. I'll start tonight.
All right, dude. Well, I guess I'll talk to you a little bit later tonight.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. See you, man.
All right. See ya.